My son locked the bathroom to save water, then told me I was too expensive to keep. Have you ever felt like a burden in the very home you built with your own hands? They didn't shut me out because I was sick. They did it because I wasn't financially useful anymore. And when I found out my daughter-in-law drained $5,000 from our old joint account to buy herself a designer coat, they told people I was going senile. I'm Evelyn Kingsley. I gave up teaching to support my husband's career. I paid for my son's college. I co-signed this house. And they tried to erase me like I was just extra. But I didn't stay silent. In this video, I'll show you exactly how I took back control, how I froze their access, exposed their lies, and reclaimed my home. No shouting, no begging. Just quiet strength and one powerful document, a trust letter my late brother left behind. My son smashed a photo frame of him in front of guests. The next day, I played a recording and served the eviction notice at Thanksgiving dinner. If you've ever been told to not rock the boat, this story might be the permission you've waited your whole life for. Don't scroll. You matter. Your voice still matters. Before we begin, can I ask you something personal? Who do you feel closer to, your mom or your dad? If it's your mom, drop a 1 in the comments. If it's your dad, drop a 2. If you love them both deeply, type 3. I'll be reading through, and maybe I'll include your answer in a future chapter. Now, let's begin the story together. My son's new bathroom lock blinked red, a tiny prison in my own home. I stood there, humiliated, my slippers freezing on the tile. The lavender sprig pinned to my scarf brushed my chin, its faint scent pulling me back to Harold's gentle hands, pinning it there years ago. Did they forget I signed the deed to this house? I shook the thought away, my breath shallow as laughter spilled from the backyard. The Kingsley family home in Raleigh buzzed with our pre-Thanksgiving potluck, November 24. String lights twinkled above the patio, casting a warm glow over folding tables draped in checkered cloths. Ella Fitzgerald's jazz hummed from a Bluetooth speaker, soft and wistful, nearly drowned by the chatter of neighbors. Apple pie cooled on the kitchen counter, its cinnamon scent mingling with fire pit smoke drifting through the screen door. Outside, a porch swing creaked lazily, and pickup trucks lined our quiet suburban street, their chrome glinting under streetlights. I wove through the crowd, my gray cardigan neatly pressed, the lavender sprig a small rebellion against the chill. My fingers grazed the pearl earrings Harold gave me decades ago, a reminder of who I used to be. Tasha, my daughter-in-law, stood by the fire pit in a cashmere sweater, her auburn hair catching the light. She smirked, her voice slicing through the jazz. "Evelyn, you smell musty." Her words landed like a slap, sharp and deliberate. Sarah, my daughter, chuckled nervously, then looked at her shoes. Her nurse's scrubs wrinkled from a long shift. Paul, my husband, sipped his beer, his gray eyes fixed on the fire, silent as always. My chest tightened, a familiar ache, but I nodded, my smile a practiced mask. Lila, my granddaughter, watched from a lawn chair, her fingers clutching her phone, her brown eyes sad. I excused myself, my bladder nagging after too much iced tea. The guest bathroom was just off the hall, its door a welcome escape. I turned the knob, but it didn't budge. A smart lock blinked red, cold, and unyielding. Imagine standing in your own hallway, only to be told you're too expensive to keep. If that were your child, what would you say? But before we go on, drop a 5 in the comments if you're still with me, because what I discovered next nearly broke me. My cheeks burned. I pressed again, harder, as if willpower could change it. Footsteps approached, heavy and sure. Darren, my son, loomed behind me, his jaw tight, his button-down shirt wrinkled. "Water bills are killing us, Mom," he said, voice low, eyes avoiding mine. "Use it less." Tasha sidled up, her smirk widening. "It's practical, right?" she chimed, her tone syrupy. Lila lingered nearby, her gaze darting between us, her classic rock t-shirt a splash of defiance. I swallowed hard, my throat dry, and retreated down the hall, the lock's red blink searing my mind. In my guest room, I sank onto the bed, the quilt soft under my hands. The mirror on the dresser reflected a frail woman, her pearl earrings glinting, her face lined with years of sacrifice. I gave up teaching to support Paul's engineering career, my chalk-dusted dreams traded for his drafting table. I paid Darren's college tuition, scrimping on groceries, and bailed out his startup when it teetered, my savings drained. I co-signed this house's deed with Harold, my brother, his steady hand guiding mine. Sarah's voice drifted through the wall, muffled but clear. "Mom's slowing us down." My fingers brushed the lavender sprig, its scent grounding me. But my heart sank. Was I their mother, or just their caretaker? I reached for my phone, seeking distraction, but a notification stopped me cold. A bank alert glowed on the screen. $5,000 withdrawn from our joint account. Tasha's name bolded. My breath caught, my fingers trembling. The account was from Darren's business days, my credit anchoring his dreams. Why was Tasha spending my money? The jazz outside faded, replaced by the thud of my pulse. I set the phone down, my eyes fixed on the sprig. Harold's love, a quiet whisper. The potluck's laughter mocked me, but something stirred. A flicker of defiance, sharp and unfamiliar. $5,000 vanished. Tasha's name on the receipt. My account wasn't theirs to steal. I sat on my guest room bed, the tablet's glow casting shadows on the quilt, my fingers trembling. Harold's voice echoed in my mind, steady as ever. "Keep your name on everything, Evie." Was he still protecting me, even now, 2 years after his passing? Rain tapped the window, a soft patter, but it couldn't drown the thud of my pulse. It was early morning, November 3rd, 2024, in the Kingsley home in Raleigh. The guest room felt like a stranger's, its walls closing in. Tasha's eucalyptus diffuser sat on the dresser, its cloying scent stinging my nose, a reminder of her presence. Outside, a pickup truck rumbled down our suburban street, its engine fading into the gray dawn. The house was quiet, save for the rain's gentle rhythm, but it carried the weight of last night's humiliation. The bathroom lock's red blink, Darren's cold words, Tasha's smirk. I opened the bank app, my breath shallow. The joint account, set up years ago for Darren's startup, loaded slowly. There it was. A $5,000 withdrawal. Tasha's name bolded, dated yesterday. A designer coat, the receipt said, from a boutique I'd never heard of. My stomach twisted, sharp and hot. I closed my eyes and a memory surfaced, unbidden. I was at the pawn shop counter, my sapphire necklace glinting under harsh lights, my fingers trembling as I handed it over to cover the business loan that saved Darren's dream. I'd worn thin sweaters that winter, skipping meals to stretch the budget, but Darren had hugged me, promising, "I'll make you proud, Mom." Now my eyes burned. I gripped the tablet, my resolve hardening. I dialed the bank, my voice steadier than I felt. "I need to reset my password," I said. The agent clicked through, her tone brisk. "You're the primary holder, Mrs. Kingsley. Access granted." I exhaled, a small victory. The account refreshed, and more withdrawals loaded, each one a jab. $3,000 for jewelry, $2,000 for a boutique deposit. My jaw tightened, my nails digging into my palm. Tasha's greed was a thief in my house, and Darren's absence, off at work before dawn, felt like permission. The rain outside grew louder, its patter mirroring my racing pulse, urging me on. Paul shuffled past my door, his slippers scuffing the hardwood. "Don't rock the boat, Evie," he muttered, his voice gravelly, as if conflict were a storm he could sidestep. I bit my lip, his words a familiar sting. Paul had drifted since my dad's death, his engineering days replaced by beer and silence. I'd given up teaching to support his career, my chalk-dusted dreams traded for his blueprints, but he barely saw me now. I turned back to the tablet, my fingers curling tighter, when Tasha's voice floated up from the kitchen, sharp and carefree. "No one checks the account, babe," she laughed, her phone call loud enough to pierce the walls. "It's ours." My nails bit deeper, a spark of rage flaring in my chest. I set the tablet down, my hands shaking, and reached for the lavender sachet on my nightstand. Its scent steadied me, a whisper of Harold's love. I'd been their caretaker, pouring my savings into Darren's college, his business, this house. Sarah's resentment, Paul's distance. They all weighed heavy. But Tasha's theft was a line crossed, a betrayal I couldn't ignore. Did I build their dreams, or just their greed? My phone buzzed, breaking the silence. A text from Lila, my granddaughter. "Grandma, I found weird papers in Dad's office. They mention you." My breath caught, my eyes locking on the screen. The rain's patter faded, replaced by a low hum of anticipation. What secrets were in Darren's papers? I clutched the phone, my heart pounding, the lavender sachet cool against my palm. The house felt like a cage, its walls hiding truths I needed to find. Tasha's laugh echoed below, but I wasn't the frail woman they thought. Not anymore. Lila's text was a lifeline, a spark in the dark. What did Darren hide in his office? I clutched my phone, the lavender sprig on my desk wilting, its scent fading like my hope. Was Harold's wisdom still alive in me, guiding me through this betrayal? The memory of his steady voice, "You're stronger than you know, Evie," stirred something deep, a flicker of defiance against the hurt that clung like damp air. It was mid-morning, November 5th, 2024, at Clara's townhouse in Raleigh. The kitchen glowed warm, a pecan pie baking in the oven, its buttery scent wrapping around me like a hug. A Led Zeppelin track, "Stairway to Heaven," hummed low from Clara's old radio, its chords soft against the clink of her mixing spoon. Outside, the suburban street was quiet, a pickup truck's rumble fading in the distance. Back at the Kingsley home, a neighborhood coffee hour was unfolding, Miles Davis's jazz drifting through the open windows, the porch swing creaking under a neighbor's weight. I sat at Clara's table, my gray cardigan loose, the lavender sprig pinned to my scarf, a faint comfort. Lila, my granddaughter, slid a folded paper across to me, her brown eyes nervous but fierce. "I found this in Dad's office, Grandma," she whispered, her classic rock t-shirt wrinkled. It was Harold's letter, his neat handwriting declaring the house trust in my name. Sole owner. My breath caught, my fingers tracing the ink. Clara, her silver hair pulled back, leaned over, her pie knife glinting. "My boy cut me off years ago, Evie," she said, her voice sharp with memory. "Thought I was useless too. Don't let them erase you." Her eyes burned, a mirror to my own pain. I nodded, my resolve hardening, the hurt from Darren's bathroom lock and Tasha's theft tightening my chest. I tucked the letter into my purse, ready to face the storm at home. Rain blurred my windshield as I drove back, the wiper's rhythm syncing with my pulse. At the Kingsley home, the coffee hour buzzed with neighbors, their chatter clashing with Miles Davis' cool notes. Darren stood by the kitchen island, his button-down shirt strained, his jaw tight as he poured coffee. I slipped into the crowd, my lavender sprig catching the light, my face composed despite the ache inside. Sarah, in her nurse's scrubs, stood near the window, her arms crossed, avoiding my gaze. Darren's eyes locked on me, narrow and hard. "Mom's useless now," he snapped, loud enough for heads to turn. "Just costing us money." Guests shifted awkwardly, their cups clinking. Sarah looked down, her silence a knife. My face burned, my hands trembling, but I stood tall, the sprig's scent steadying me. I'd paid his college, saved his business, signed this house's deed, yet I was useless? The jazz faltered, a needle skipping, amplifying the sting. Later, alone in the hall, I crept toward Darren's office, my slippers silent on the hardwood. The door was ajar, his laptop open, its screen glowing. An email loaded, slow and damning, a forged refinance document, my name erased, Darren's signature scrawled. My heart raced, my breath shallow. I saved the email to my phone, my fingers steady despite the fury surging inside. They were stealing my house, my legacy, Tasha was the sender, CC'd to a lawyer I didn't know, a name that sent a chill down my spine. This wasn't just greed, it was a plan. I slipped out, my pulse thundering, the jazz now a distant hum. As I reached the kitchen, Tasha's voice drifted from behind the counter, low and venomous. If your own child tried to erase you with a lie this cruel, what would hurt more? The betrayal, or the silence from the ones who let it happen? If you're still watching, drop a 6 in the comments, because what I did next wasn't loud, but it changed everything. "She's demented, Darren," she said, her phone pressed to her ear. "Time for a home." My blood froze, my hand gripping the lavender sprig. Did I raise them, or did they erase me? The words hung heavy, a challenge I couldn't ignore. Tasha's dementia lies seared my soul. They wanted me gone, but I'd uncover their secrets first. I gripped my purse. Harold's trust letter heavy inside, his foresight my shield against their betrayal. What else did he hide to protect me? The question burned as I stepped into the crisp November air, my resolve a quiet flame. It was afternoon, November 7th, 2024, at Raleigh's Farmers Market. Pumpkins and cider stalls buzzed with shoppers, a banjo strumming nearby, its twang mingling with the chatter. The air smelled of roasted chestnuts, warm and earthy, a comfort against the chill. I wandered past wooden crates, my gray cardigan loose, a lavender sachet in my pocket grounding me. Sarah, my daughter, stood by a honey stall, her nurse's scrubs wrinkled, her face drawn. "You missed my 16th birthday, Mom," she snapped, her voice sharp. "Always working." Her words stung, a fresh wound. I recalled those late nights working overtime to pay Paul's debts, my hands raw from scrubbing floors to keep her in school. My throat tightened, but Sarah stormed off, her ponytail swaying. Hurt coiled in my chest, heavy and raw. I drove to the storage unit, gripping the wheel, the banjo's echo fading. The storage unit was cold, dust tickling my nose as I knelt before Harold's safe. I punched in our wedding date, my fingers steady. The lock clicked, revealing the house deed. My name, sole owner, per his trust. My hands trembled, a spark of power igniting. I'd co-signed this house, poured my savings into it, yet Darren and Tasha schemed to steal it. My heart steadied, the deed a weapon I pocketed. I wasn't their burden, I was their foundation. The air felt sharper, my breath even as I headed home, the city blurring past. At the Kingsley home, the porch swing creaked, Miles Davis jazz drifting faintly from the living room. Tasha was in the kitchen, planning her boutique opening, her voice smug through the screen door. I slipped inside, my slippers silent, aiming for Darren's office to dig deeper. His footsteps thudded behind me, heavy and sudden. "Stay out, Mom," he barked. His eyes wild, his button-down shirt damp with sweat. He shoved me, my shoulder slamming the wall, pain flaring sharp. Tasha appeared, smirking. "She's clumsy, Darren," she purred, her cashmere sweater pristine. My face burned, rage surging, but I kept my gaze low, hiding the deed in my purse. They thought me frail, but I saw Tasha's purse on the counter, unzipped. Inside, her diary lay open, its pages damning. Refinance fast, then divorce. My jaw tightened, my fingers tracing the words. A lawyer's meeting was scrawled for tomorrow, not with our family attorney, a stranger's name, a new threat. I retreated to my guest room, the jazz now a low hum, my shoulder throbbing. Sarah's rejection, Darren's shove, Tasha's diary, they were a chorus of betrayal, drowning my sacrifices. I'd paid Darren's college, saved his business, supported Paul's career, yet they cast me aside. Was I their anchor, or just their burden? My phone buzzed, Lila's text lighting the screen. "Grandma, Mom's meeting that lawyer now. I followed her." My breath caught, the lavender sachet cool in my hand. The rain outside pattered, a steady drum urging me forward. What was Tasha planning next? Lila's text burned my phone. Tasha's secret lawyer wasn't for business. She was plotting her escape. I stood in my guest room, the lavender sachet in my pocket smelling of resolve, its faint warmth a spark against my rage. Could I freeze their greed like Harold froze our assets in his trust? His letter, tucked in my purse, felt like a weapon, urging me to fight. It was morning, November 9th, 2024, in Karen's lawyer office downtown Raleigh. Glass walls reflected a gray skyline, the city's hum muted by thick panes. A coffee mug steamed on Karen's desk, its aroma sharp against the sterile air. I sat across from her, my gray cardigan neat, the lavender sachet grounding me. Karen, 50, her blazer crisp, scrolled through my phone, her frown deepening. "They forged a refinance, Evelyn," she said, voice low. "Your name's erased. Darren signed it." My heart pounded, a drum against my ribs. The email from Darren's laptop, Tasha's handiwork, was a betrayal deeper than the bathroom lock, sharper than his shove. "We can freeze the joint account," Karen added, sliding a form toward me. My eyes blazed, my pen steady as I signed, rage surging hot. I'd built this family, paid Darren's college, saved his business, co-signed the house, yet they stole from me. I drove home, Ella Fitzgerald's jazz soothing my nerves, the sachet's scent, a quiet vow. At the Kingsley home, the thermostat spiked, Tasha's petty control turning the air thick. A pickup truck idled outside, its rumble faint through the window. Paul shuffled past my door, his slippers scuffing. "Don't stir trouble, Evie," he muttered, his gray eyes avoiding mine. His apathy cut. A familiar wound. I'd given up teaching for his career, my dreams traded for his drafting table. But he drifted now, a ghost in our home. My phone buzzed, Lila's text lighting the screen. "Mom's at a lawyer's office, not Karen's." I pictured Tasha plotting her divorce, her smug smirk, her boutique funded by my money. Rage flared, my jaw tightening, my fingers curling around the sachet. Sarah's absence stung, her silence at the coffee hour echoing in my mind. My family was fracturing, and I was the only one fighting to hold it together. I opened my tablet, heart racing, and tapped into a security feed from Clara's nephew's app. Tasha's boutique appeared, its glass storefront gleaming. She stood at the counter, her cashmere sweater pristine, handing her card to a clerk for a $10,000 investor payment. The clerk swiped, then frowned. "It's declined, ma'am." Tasha's face twisted, her voice sharp. "Try again," customers whispered, their eyes darting. The clerk shook her head, and Tasha's composure cracked, her hands shaking. My pulse soared, a thrill of victory. The account freeze, my first strike, had humiliated her publicly. I'd torn through her facade, exposing the thief beneath. My fingers brushed the lavender sachet, its scent a quiet triumph. But the battle wasn't over. Lila's text pinged again, a photo attached. Tasha's lawyer's card, divorce and family law embossed in gold. My breath caught, the sachet cool against my palm. Tasha wasn't just stealing. She was planning to abandon Darren, to flee with my legacy. Did I teach them love or just sacrifice? The question hung heavy, my resolve ironclad. A fist pounded my door, Darren's voice roaring through the wood. "Mom, what did you do to the account?" My heart thudded, the jazz fading, the pickup truck's rumble a distant growl. I stood, the sachet in my pocket, ready to face the storm. Darren's fist shook my door, his rage a warning. But I held a secret bigger than his anger. I stood in my guest room, the lavender sachet in my pocket, a faint pulse of courage. Harold's trust letter glowed in my memory, his love my armor. What else had he planned for me? The question fueled my resolve, a fire against the chill of Tasha's dementia, lie, and Darren's betrayal. It was midnight, November 11th, 2024, in the Kingsley home in Raleigh. Moonlight filtered through the guest room's blinds, casting jagged shadows on the quilt. The house was silent save for the soft hum of Tasha's laptop in the living room, left open in her carelessness. Outside, a pickup truck's headlights swept the suburban street, their glow fleeting. I crept from my room, my slippers whispering on the hardwood, my heart racing. The air carried a faint trace of apple pie from yesterday's baking, a mockery of the family warmth I'd once believed in. In the living room, Tasha's laptop screen glowed, a file labeled Exit Strategy. Open. I leaned closer, my breath shallow, my fingers trembling. The document was a knife. Declare me demented, seize the house, divorce Darren. My blood boiled, hands shaking as I scrolled through Tasha's plan to erase me, to steal my legacy with lies about my mind. She'd written of a shell account in her maiden name, funneling my money to her escape. I clenched my fists, rage surging hot. I'd paid Darren's college, saved his business, co-signed this house, yet they plotted to cage me. The moonlight shifted, a clock ticking softly, its rhythm a countdown to my counterstrike. My phone buzzed, Lila's text lighting the screen. A photo loaded, Harold's trust letter, its words clear. "You own the house outright, Grandma," she wrote. I exhaled, a surge of power flooding me. I closed my eyes, and Harold's face appeared, smiling, his voice warm. "This is yours, Evie, no matter what," he'd said, signing the trust years ago. My eyes burned with gratitude, tears pricking. Lila's loyalty, her quiet sleuthing, was a lifeline, tying me to the family I still had. I swiped the tears away, my resolve ironclad. Tasha's plan was vile, but Harold's foresight was my shield. I returned to my room, locking the door, the laptop's hum a distant echo. I opened my tablet, whispering to myself, "Sell the house fast." I emailed Karen, my lawyer, attaching the trust letter and Tasha's exit strategy. The sale was my weapon. They'd lose everything. My fingers steadied, the lavender sachet cool against my palm. Darren's voice roared outside, pounding the door. "Fix the account, Mom!" he bellowed, his fury shaking the wood. I didn't flinch, my heart steady. The sale, my secret strike. Tasha's shell account, her divorce plot, Darren's rage. They thought me frail, but I was armed now. Did I raise a son or a stranger? My phone buzzed again. Sarah's text glowing. "Mom, I need to talk. I was wrong about you." My breath caught. The sachet's scent fading, the moonlight stark. Sarah's words were a crack in the wall, a chance at redemption, but Tasha's plan loomed larger. The pickup truck's rumble faded outside, leaving only the clock's tick and my steady pulse. Sarah's text lit my phone, a flicker of hope, but Darren's rage was a storm I couldn't outrun. I sat at Clara's table, the lavender sachet in my pocket, a steady pulse. Clara's pecan pie recipe on my desk, a warm memory. Could I serve justice as sweet? My resolve burned, fueled by Tasha's cruel exit strategy and Harold's trust letter, my shield against their betrayal. It was evening, November 13th, 2024, in Clara's townhouse in Raleigh. Pecan pie crumbs dusted the table, their buttery scent lingering. Miles Davis jazz hummed low from her radio, its cool notes a contrast to my fury. Outside, a porch swing creaked, pickup trucks idling on the suburban street, their engines a soft growl. I showed Clara the exit strategy file from Tasha's laptop, her plan to declare me demented and steal my house. Clara grinned, slicing pie, her silver hair catching the light. "Send it to the press, Evie. Burn their lies." Her voice was sharp, her own son's estrangement fueling her fire. We drafted an anonymous tip, attaching my recordings of Tasha's dementia lies. My hands were steady, rage a tight coil. I drove home, Ella Fitzgerald's jazz calming my pulse, the sachet's scent a vow to fight. At the Kingsley home, the air was thick, Tasha's gala streaming on my tablet via Clara's nephew's security app. Sarah called, her voice shaky through my earbuds. "Mom, Darren's out of control," she said. "I'm sorry I doubted you. I missed your strength." My heart softened, her words a crack in my rage. I'd worked overtime to pay Paul's debts, missing her 16th birthday, but she saw me now. "Let's meet tomorrow," I promised, my voice low. Her guilt was a bridge, but Tasha's betrayal loomed larger. I hung up, my fingers trembling, the jazz fading as I focused on the feed. Darren stormed into the living room, his eyes wild, finding me near his office door. "You're outdated, Mom!" he roared. "Ruining us!" He grabbed Harold's photo frame from the shelf, my brother's smile frozen in glass, and smashed it on the floor. Shards splintered, my breath shallow. I pressed record on my phone, hidden in my pocket, my pulse racing. The frame, a gift from Harold, was my heart's anchor, now broken. Rage surged, but I stayed still, the lavender sachet cool against my palm. On the tablet, Tasha's gala unfolded, her card declining for a $2,000 donation. Guests whispered, her face twisting, the news tip landing like a bomb. Her shame was my strike, a public crack in her facade. I'd frozen their greed, but Darren's destruction cut deeper. Lila's text pinged, a photo attached. A fake deed in Darren's desk, forged with my name. My breath caught, the sachet's scent fading. Tasha's divorce plan, Darren's cruelty? They were dismantling my legacy, but I was fighting back. Did I raise them, or did they break me? My phone buzzed again, Karen's email glowing. "House sales ready. Sign tomorrow?" The jazz stopped. The pickup truck's rumble a distant echo. My resolve, a quiet blade. Karen's email was my escape hatch. Darren's fake deed was his final lie. I sat in her office, my resolve, a quiet blade. The lavender sachet in my pocket, a pulse of strength. Harold's ring weighed on my finger, a chain I'd soon break. Would my sale shatter their world? The thought sparked a fierce hope, a fire against Tasha's schemes and Darren's cruelty. It was noon, November 15, 2024, in Karen's lawyer office downtown Raleigh. Gray clouds loomed through glass walls, the skyline muted, a coffee mug steam curling on her desk. The air smelled of ink and leather, sharp and clean. I faced Karen, my gray cardigan neat, my posture commanding. She scrolled through my phone, Lila's photo of the fake deed glowing. "The house is yours, Evelyn," she said, her blazer crisp, her voice firm. "Harold's trust is ironclad, the buyer's wired funds." My heart surged, my pen steady as I signed the sale contract. A weight lifted, my legacy reclaimed. The eviction notice was drafted, set for Thanksgiving, a silent bomb. I stood, the sachet's scent grounding me, and walked to a coffee shop nearby. The farmers' market's hum, a distant buzz, pumpkins and cider stalls alive with chatter. In the coffee shop, the air smelled of espresso, warm against the November chill. Sarah sat across from me, her nurse's scrubs wrinkled, her eyes red. "I misjudged you, Mom," she said, voice shaky. "You worked for us, not against us." And she shared a memory. My late nights at the kitchen table, paying bills to save Paul's job, her 16th birthday missed because I was scrubbing floors. My throat tightened, her words a balm. We hugged, her arms tight, her support stealing me. "I'm with you now," she whispered. My heart softened, but rage lingered. Darren's frame smashing, Tasha's divorce plot. Lila's text buzzed, "Dad's planning something big with Mom." My pulse quickened, the sachet cool in my pocket. Sarah's guilt was a bridge, but the war wasn't won. I sipped my coffee, jazz from the shop's speakers soothing my nerves, the market's banjo faint outside. Back at the Kingsley home, Tasha's Thanksgiving prep buzzed, a tense facade. Moon River played faintly from the living room, its melody ironic against the air's thickness. The porch swing creaked, pickup trucks idling on the street, their rumble a low threat. I slipped inside, my slippers silent, the sale contract hidden in my purse. Darren cornered me in the hall, his eyes wild, his button-down shirt damp. "Get out, Mom, or I'll make you leave," he roared, shoving me hard. My hip bruised against the kitchen counter, pain flaring sharp. Tasha appeared smirking, her cashmere sweater pristine. "She's a liability, Darren," she purred, her voice venomous. My face burned, rage a tight coil, but I stayed still, my resolve ironclad. The sale was my secret weapon, ready to upend their lives. I'd built this house, co-signed the deed, drained my savings, yet they cast me out. Paul lingered nearby, his gray eyes flickering, but he said nothing, his silence a familiar sting. In my room, I opened Tasha's laptop, left carelessly on the counter. Emails to a divorce lawyer loaded, detailing her exit plan. Drain the accounts, leave Darren, take the house. My breath caught, my fingers trembling. Tasha's betrayal was a web, Darren her pawn, my legacy their prize. I forwarded the emails to the newsroom, attaching the fake deed, my heart pounding. Was I their home or just their hostage? The sachet's scent faded, the jazz a distant hum, the pickup truck's rumble a call to action. I'd sold the house, my strike set to fall, but Tasha's emails were the spark to burn their lies. The newsroom tip was my spark. Tasha's divorce emails would light their world on fire. I stood in the Kingsley dining room, my resolve a quiet blaze, the lavender sprig on my desk dry, but my legacy ready to bloom. Could I walk away unscathed? The question lingered, a shadow against my triumph, as I prepared to shatter their lies. It was evening, November 17th, 2024, at the Kingsley home in Raleigh. The Thanksgiving dinner, a tense charade. String lights glowed above the patio, casting flickers on the checkered tablecloth. Moon River played softly from a Bluetooth speaker, its melody clashing with the air's heaviness. Turkey and apple pie steamed on the table, their warmth a facade. A pickup truck's engine hummed outside, its rumble low. I sat at the table, my gray coat folded neatly, a lavender sachet in my pocket grounding me. Tasha raised her wine glass, her cashmere sweater pristine, her smile forced. "To family," she toasted, her voice brittle. Sarah squeezed my hand, her nurse's scrubs wrinkled, her eyes steady. Lila nodded, her classic rock t-shirt a quiet rebellion. Clara, a guest, smirked, pie plate in hand, her silver hair glinting. Paul watched, silent, his gray eyes flickering. Guests chattered, unaware of the storm brewing. My phone buzzed, a news alert pinging. Local couple faces fraud probe. Tasha's shell accounts and divorce plan were exposed. Guests' phones lit up, whispers rippling. Tasha's glass trembled, wine sloshing. The jazz skipped, a needle scratching, amplifying the tension. Darren glared across the table, his button-down shirt damp, his jaw tight. "You did this, Mom!" He roared, standing, his chair scraping. "You're a burden! You forced me to cut costs!" His words cut, a brutal echo of the bathroom lock, the smashed frame, his shove. Sarah snapped, "Enough, Darren, she's our mother!" Her voice cracked, her face flushed, her guilt a shield. Paul nodded, his eyes on me, a flicker of pride breaking his silence. Tasha stammered, "It's all lies." Her voice rose, desperate, her smirk gone. Guests shifted, their forks clinking, eyes darting. My pulse steadied, the sachet's scent a quiet anchor. I'd built this family, paid Darren's college, saved his business, co-signed this house. Yet they cast me out. Their cruelty was bare, my resolve ironclad. I rose, my voice clear, my hand steady. I tapped my phone, playing the recording. Darren's snarl. "You're outdated!" Followed by the crash of Harold's frame, glass splintering. Gasps rippled, guests' eyes wide. Tasha's face paled, her hands shaking. Darren froze, his breath ragged. A server entered, his tray empty, a sealed envelope in hand. He placed it before Darren, who tore it open, his fingers fumbling. "House sold, effective tomorrow," I said, my voice cutting through the jazz. I slid my wedding ring off, leaving it on the table, its gold glinting, a symbolic break from their chains. The eviction notice and exposure shattered them, my triumph complete. Tasha's shell account email, flagged by the bank for a $50,000 transfer, was the final nail, revealed in the news alert. My legacy was mine, their lies burned to ash. Sarah stood, her hand on my arm, her eyes wet. Lila beamed, her pride alight. Clara's smirk widened, her pie untouched, her own estrangement healed through my win. Paul's nod deepened, a silent vow to reconnect. Darren slumped, his face ashen, his justification hollow. Tasha's stammer faded, her isolation complete. Did I lose them or find myself? The sachet's scent was faint, the pickup truck's hum distant, the table's warmth a memory. I walked out, the jazz swelling, my heart bitter-sweet. My phone buzzed in the quiet hall, Tasha's voicemail begging, "Evelyn, please, let's talk." Her voice cracked, a plea too late, my victory sealed. Tasha's voicemail begged for mercy, a hollow echo. I deleted it, my heart finally free. I stood in my new condo, the lavender sachet in a vase blooming fresh, its scent a quiet triumph. Could my legacy outshine their betrayal? The thought warmed me, a light against the shadow of Darren's cruelty and Tasha's lies. It was morning, November 20th, 2024, in my urban condo in Raleigh. Floor-to-ceiling windows framed a sparkling skyline, sunlight dancing on hardwood floors. An Ella Fitzgerald jazz record spun softly, its warmth filling the space. Below, the farmer's market hummed faintly, cider stalls buzzing with life. I sat at my desk, the lavender sachet grounding me, my pen steady as I signed my will. I redirected my assets to Cora House Foundation, cutting Darren out. My resolve hardened, a memory flashing. Darren's shove at Thanksgiving, his voice snarling, "Get out!" His frame smashing, Tasha's fraud. They'd tried to erase me, but I'd sold the house, my strike final. Sunlight streamed in, warming my face. A new beginning. A knock sounded soft but sure. Sarah stepped inside, her nurse's scrubs wrinkled, her eyes red. "I missed your strength, Mom," she said, voice shaky. "I was wrong about your sacrifices." She shared a memory. My late-night bill payments at the kitchen table, saving Paul's job, my hands raw from overtime to keep her in school. Her words healed, a balm on old wounds. We hugged, her warmth tight, her guilt a bridge rebuilt. "I sent evidence to the newsroom," she whispered, her micro-twist landing soft. Tasha's exposure, amplified by Sarah's hand, was a shared victory. Lila arrived, her classic rock ringtone breaking the silence. She carried Harold's restored photo, his smile warm in its frame. "You're my hero, Grandma," she said, her brown eyes bright. I stroked her hair, her loyalty a spark of hope, tying me to the family I'd chosen. Paul joined us, his slippers scuffing, his gray eyes soft. "I should have seen you, Evie," he said, voice low. "I'm sorry I drifted." He held my hand, his grip firm, a crack in his silence. I'd given up teaching for his career, my dreams traded for his blueprints, but his apology was a start. A news broadcast flickered on the TV, confirming Tasha's fraud probe, her shell accounts frozen. Darren's text pinged, "Mom, I'm sorry." I deleted it, my heart light, his guilt too late. I'd built their dreams, paid Darren's college, saved his business, co-signed the house, but they'd cast me out. Now I chose my family, Sarah's remorse, Lila's pride, Paul's awakening. The jazz swelled, Ella's voice a gentle embrace, the market's hum a distant pulse. My phone buzzed, an email from Cora House glowing. "Board seat offer, Ms. Kingsley." I smiled, the lavender sachet's scent blooming, my legacy secure. Was I their mother or my own hero? The skyline sparkled, my condo a home, my chosen family its heart. The Cora House email was a crown I'd earned, not inherited. My fight wasn't just for me anymore. I stood in my condo, Harold's sapphire pendant gleaming at my neck, his love my anchor. Could I lead others to freedom? The thought filled me with quiet joy, the lavender sachet's scent, a bloom of fulfillment. It was evening, November 25th, 2024, in my urban condo in Raleigh. Apple pie baked in the oven, its cinnamon scent warm and rich. A classic rock playlist, Led Zeppelin's Stairway to Heaven, hummed from my speakers, its chords a gentle pulse. Outside, a pickup truck rumbled faintly, the city skyline twinkling through floor-to-ceiling windows. I dusted flour from my hands, pie dough clinging to my fingers, and recalled a moment days ago in Cora House's boardroom. Lavender sachets scented the air, the board's faces warm as I accepted my seat. "I'm here for every woman erased," I said, my voice steady. They applauded, their claps echoing. Darren's smashed photo frame flashed in my mind, his cruelty a shadow I'd outrun. My resolve had been unwavering, my legacy taking root. Back in my condo, the pie's warmth pulled me to the present, my heart full. Sarah stepped into the kitchen, her nurse's scrubs swapped for a sweater, her smile soft. "You taught me strength, Mom," she said, rolling dough beside me. "I'm proud." Her words healed, a balm on years of distance. She'd resented my absence at her 16th birthday, unaware I'd worked overtime to pay Paul's debts. Now, her pride completed our bond, her hands steady as she crimped the crust. Lila bounced in, her classic rock t-shirt bright, playing Stairway to Heaven on her phone. She swayed, giggling, her brown eyes sparkling. "This is your song, Grandma," she teased, tossing flour at Sarah. I smiled, their laughter filling the room, a family reborn. The jazz record spun softly, Ella Fitzgerald's voice a distant echo, the farmer's market's hum faint below. Clara arrived, her silver hair pulled back, a cider jug in hand. "To Evie's legacy," she toasted, her voice warm, sweeter than my pecan pie. We sat, sharing stories. Clara spoke of her son's estrangement, his silence after she refused to fund his schemes, a mirror to my fight. I shared the house sale, the eviction notice, the ring I'd left behind. Her smirk widened, her closure woven with mine. Lila slipped a letter from her pocket, hidden in Harold's restored photo frame. "Found this, Grandma," she said, her voice soft. Harold's words praised my courage. "You're unstoppable, Evie." My eyes burned, his love a spark that lit my path. The micro twist landed gently, tying me to his legacy. The pie cooled, its crust golden. Sarah sliced it, her hand steady, her pride a quiet vow. Lila hummed, her joy infectious. Clara's toast lingered, her eyes wet. Paul's support, his hand in mine days ago, echoed in my heart. I'd given up teaching for his career, paid Darren's college, saved his business, yet they'd tried to erase me. Darren's text, deleted, was a ghost, his guilt too late. My leadership at Cora House, my chosen family, Sarah, Lila, Clara, were my triumph. Did I raise them or raise myself? I pinned a lavender sprig to my coat, my heart full, the skyline a canvas of hope. My phone buzzed, a survivor's letter arriving. "Your story gave me courage, Miss Kingsley." The jazz swelled, the pickup truck's rumble faded, my legacy a beacon. A survivor's letter warmed my condo, her words a mirror. I wasn't alone anymore. I stood by my window, Harold's sapphire pendant resting on my chest, its weight of victory. Had we always been enough? The question settled softly, my heart at peace, my legacy a beacon for others. It was dusk, November 30th, 2024, in my urban condo in Raleigh. Lavender sachets scented the air, their fragrance mingling with the cinnamon of apple pie steaming on the table. Moon River spun on my record player, its melody soft, wrapping the room in warmth. The survivors' dinner unfolded, women's laughter rising, their stories of betrayal and resilience a chorus. The Raleigh skyline twinkled outside, a new horizon through floor-to-ceiling windows. Sarah served pie, her sweater soft, her smile bright. "You're our anchor, Mom," she said, her voice steady. Lila danced with Clara to Moon River, their laughter bright, Lila's classic rock t-shirt swaying. Paul sat close, his hand brushing mine, his gray eyes warm. The record skipped, a soft pause drawing us closer, the farmer's market's hum faint below. I watched them, my chosen family, their faces lit by string lights strung across my patio. Sarah's bond was complete, her pride a tribute to my sacrifices, late nights paying Paul's debts, missing her birthday to keep us afloat. Lila's hope shone, her dance a promise to emulate my strength, her bedtime stories with me a thread unbroken. Clara's joy, her silver hair glinting, closed her estrangement's wound, her son's silence softened by our shared triumph. Paul's quiet support, his touch of vow, atoned for years of drift. I'd given up teaching for his career, poured my savings into Darren's college and business, co-signed the house, yet Darren's cruelty, his eviction threat, the smashed frame, the bathroom lock, was a distant echo. His abuse was resolved by my triumph, my heart light. The pie's warmth, the jazz's hum, the lavender's scent, they were my home now. I stood, my voice clear, the pendant cool against my skin. We're enough, I said, all of us. Our scars are our strength. The room toasted. To dignity. Glasses clinked, their voices a chorus. I recalled the bathroom lock's red blink, a memory now, its sting replaced by pride. Clara nodded, her eyes wet, her son's absence eased by our bond. Sarah sliced more pie, her hands steady, her love a quiet vow. Lila twirled, her laughter a spark. Paul's smile soft beside me. The survivors shared their tales, lost homes, stolen trust, each voice a thread in our tapestry. My leadership at Cora House, my sale of the house, my rejection of Darren's apology. They'd built this moment, my legacy a light for others. The guests left, their voices fading, the record slowing. Alone, I stood by the window, the skyline glittering. I touched my pendant, whispering, "We did it, Harold." His love had carried me, his trust letter, my shield. I held the lavender sprig, its scent my home, a survivor's letter on my table. "You showed me I'm enough." Paul's voice broke the silence, soft from the doorway. "I kept Harold's old watch," he said, his micro twist gentle, "for Lila, to tie the generations." My eyes burned, his gift a bridge, his support complete. Was I ever theirs, or always mine? The skyline answered, its lights my own, my condo a sanctuary of self. The lavender bloomed, the pie cooled, Moon River faded. My legacy, my family, Sarah, Lila, Clara, Paul, was enough. The pickup truck's rumble vanished, the night serene, my heart full. The survivor's letter lay open on my table, its words a quiet echo of my journey. I wasn't alone anymore, yet a new restlessness stirred within me. Harold's sapphire pendant rested against my chest, its cool weight a reminder of victories won. Had I found my home, or was there more to claim? The question hung in the air, soft as the November dusk, my condo's stillness a canvas for what might come next. It was December 3rd, 2024, in my urban condo in Raleigh, the skyline twinkling through floor-to-ceiling windows. Lavender sachets scented the room, their fragrance mingling with the faint tang of cedar from a small Christmas tree Lila had insisted on decorating. Moon River hummed from my record player, its melody a gentle thread to the past. The survivor's dinner from days ago lingered in my memory. Sarah's proud smile, Lila's laughter, Clara's toast, Paul's steady hand. My apple pie had cooled on the table, its cinnamon warmth a symbol of the family I'd chosen. Yet as I stood by the window, a pickup truck's rumble below sparked a new curiosity. The farmer's market's hum, now quiet, hinted at paths untraveled. I sipped chamomile tea, the mug warm in my hands, and traced the pendant's edges. Cora House's board seat was mine, a crown earned through selling the house, exposing Tasha's fraud and rejecting Darren's belated guilt. I'd rebuilt my legacy with Sarah's reconciliation, Lila's loyalty, Clara's closure, and Paul's support. Darren's eviction threat, his smashed frame, the bathroom lock's red blink, they were shadows now, resolved by my triumph. But the survivor's letter, her courage kindled by my story, whispered of a larger purpose. Could I spark more fires, not just for women like her, but for a community I'd yet to meet? A knock broke my reverie, sharp and eager. Lila burst in, her classic rock t-shirt bright, her brown eyes wide. "Grandma, you gotta see this," she said, waving her phone. A local news article loaded, its headline bold, "Raleigh nonprofit seeks land for women's shelter expansion." Cora House was named, my board role mentioned, alongside a call for donors to fund a new campus. Lila grinned. "You could lead this, Grandma. A whole village for women like you." My pulse quickened, the lavender scent sharpening. The idea, a sanctuary for displaced women, built on my terms, felt like Harold's trust letter reborn, a new weapon for justice. Sarah arrived, her sweater soft, her nurse's scrubs swapped for comfort. "Lila's right, Mom," she said, her voice steady. "You've got the fire for this." She set a photo on the table. Me at the boardroom, my voice clear, lavender sachets around me. "I took this," she admitted, her eyes soft. "You looked unstoppable." My throat tightened, her pride a thread to our past, my late-night bill payments, her misunderstood 16th birthday. Paul followed, his slippers scuffing, his gray eyes warm. "I'm in, Evie," he said, his hand on my shoulder. "Whatever you need." His support, forged through his apology, was a bridge rebuilt. Clara's voice echoed from a voicemail. "Build that village, Evie. I'll bake pies for the groundbreaking." Her joy, her son's estrangement healed, mirrored my own closure. I sat, the tea cooling, the record player's hum a steady pulse. The article mentioned a potential site, a sprawling lot outside Raleigh near a quiet river. My mind raced, picturing dorms, gardens, a community center. I'd sold the Kingsley house, my savings now free, but this would need more. Grants, donors, a campaign. The challenge thrilled me, a new fight to replace the old. Darren's text, deleted weeks ago, was a ghost. Tasha's fraud probe, confirmed by news, a closed chapter. My legacy wasn't just surviving, it was building, creating, leading. The lavender sachet bloomed, its scent a vow to keep going. The next morning I drove to Cora House, the skyline fading behind me. The boardroom buzzed, lavender sachets on the table, colleagues' faces eager. I pitched the shelter expansion, my voice clear. "We'll build a village," I said, "for every woman erased." They nodded, ideas flowing. Fundraisers, partnerships, a gala. A board member, a young lawyer named Maya, suggested a memoir. "Your story, Evelyn, could fund this," she said, her eyes bright. My breath caught, the pendant cool against my chest. Writing my truth, the bathroom lock, Tasha's exit strategy, the house sale, felt daunting, but potent. The board applauded, their claps a spark, the lavender's scent urging me forward. Back home, I opened my laptop, the skyline glittering outside. I typed, "My son banned me from the bathroom to save money." The words flowed, raw and real, my voice steady. Lila texted, "Found something in Dad's old stuff, Grandma. A letter from Great-Uncle Harold to you." My pulse quickened, a micro-twist landing soft. What new wisdom did Harold hold? I paused, the record player silent, the pickup truck's rumble faint. Sarah called, planning a fundraiser with her hospital colleagues. "We're behind you, Mom," she said, her pride alight. Paul offered to contact old engineering contacts for construction bids, his support a quiet vow. Clara promised pies for the gala, her laughter warm through the phone. I stood by the window, the skyline a canvas of possibility. The survivor's letter, Harold's pendant, the new letter Lila found. They were threads in a tapestry I was still weaving. My chosen family, Sarah, Lila, Paul, Clara, was my foundation, but the village loomed larger, a dream for strangers who'd become sisters. I'd given up teaching, poured my savings into Darren's dreams, endured his cruelty, yet I stood here, my legacy, alive. Was I theirs, or always mine? The question faded, answered by the lavender's bloom, the skyline's glow, my heart's steady beat. A new email pinged, Maya, the lawyer, with a publisher's contact. "Write your memoir, Evelyn," she urged. "It's time." I smiled, the pendant warm, the lavender sprig in my hand a promise. The village, the memoir, the letter. What lay ahead was uncharted, but I was ready. The pickup truck's rumble grew louder, a car pulling up below. Lila's voice called from the door, "Grandma, I've got the letter!" My breath caught, the skyline waiting, my story far from over. Sarah's text lingered on my phone, a fragile bridge across our broken past. As I stood in my guest room, the lavender sachets sent a quiet strength. I realized family isn't just blood, it's the love we choose to nurture. Tasha's cruel exit strategy and Darren's rage had tried to erase me. But Harold's trust letter gave me the power to reclaim my home, teaching me that resilience blooms from forgiveness, not vengeance. In life, if we hold space for healing, even the deepest wounds can mend. Like a Thanksgiving table, love gathers those who truly see us, flaws and all. I'd love to hear your stories of family and strength. Share them in the comments below. Your voice matters, and together we weave a richer tale.